Welcome to Martini Time. It's a beautiful afternoon in Blackstone, Virginia, the center of the universe, but then you too are the center of the universe. And today I've been talking about political moralism in the morning, and I've been writing about Catch-22 today. Catch-22 is a double bind. It was a movie and a book. That means when you get two contradictory commandments, yes and no, you can't answer either. You can't obey either one because they cancel each other out. And I've been working on that, meditating on that, or contemplating, or screwing around with that idea. All day is what I do. I live a rather mundane life, so I'm kind of like a interior Sherlock Holmes. We've been watching Sherlock, and I connect dots, which is what Sherlock does. He sees clues, connects the dots, and gets a narrative, gets a picture, connects it all together, gets the story that holds all the dots together. And I realized watching Sherlock, I realized that's what I do. It's called an integrating mind. Connecting dots. But I do it in reference to my own life, not connecting your dots, the dots of the world, but connecting my dots, my mind, and understanding my little mundane life. And in understanding my little mundane life, I understand the world, because the world is a reflection of you. You are the world, and the world is you. So if you can understand your mind, how your mind works, the laws of your mind, it's the same laws out there in the world that you see. The world that you see is a reflection, is created by your mind. You see, we all live in a world of our mind. So everything you experience, the meaning you give to everything, the way you understand everything is all happening in your mind, you see. But the illusion is it's happening out there and you're happening inside, and we don't connect the dots. So understanding, realization, even enlightenment is connecting the outside and the inside as one. Anyway, so I've been working on the idea of Catch-22 today. And I titled this, what did I title this one? I can't even see what I wrote. I think I titled this talk, The Catch-22 of Moralism. Now, moralism, of course, that was the sin of Adam and Eve. And I was talking about that this morning. But I'm still working on it. So I'm going to share it with you as we share this martini together. So Adam and Eve, the sin of moralism was divided the apple into good and bad. So when you divide the world into good and bad as values, that's moralism. So when you see through a moral lens, you see the world in terms of good and bad, good and evil, right and wrong. And the moral mind says, I'm right and you're wrong. And then it's my God-given duty to remove evil, to get rid of the wrong and restore one, to restore the one without a second. You see, when moralism, the one gets divided into two, you see. So you got the original unity, then the moral mind comes along and divides it into good and bad. Then the good side has the moral duty to eliminate the bad, the evil. So it goes to war against the evil. But you see, the original one is now two, like twins, two brothers, a good brother and a bad brother, a good son and an evil son, you see. And it's the God-given duty of the good son to remove the bad son, you see. But they are, ding, ding, one. So this is a yin-yang, you see. So whatever this side does to this side, it does to itself because they are one, you see. So they make music together, like Sherlock and Moriarty, you see. So moralism is making music. And we can see it acting out in Charlottesville. We can see it acting out in our nation today. The moralism, the political moralism, not the religious moralism, but the religious moralism is now mixed with the political moralism. So you get these two overlays of secular moralism. Government is evil, okay, so you got to remove the government. And then a religious overlay would be the government is the devil, you see. So then it becomes mythologized into cosmic personifications of the original division in the one body, you see. So when a society is divided into two, once that division happens, it keeps morphing into different forms. It's a reenactment of the original division in new forms in history. So we're confused and we think, oh, this is something new. No, it's just a reenactment of the original division. So we have this original surgical division of America into two equal halves. And when you try to remove one half, you strengthen it. You see, because anything, when you have a two divided into one divided into two, whatever each side does strengthens it's a teeter-totter. It's a seesaw. Balance is lost, oneness is lost, or you have two. And in the struggle, you see, now the imperative on both sides, but the imperative is to restore the original oneness. Let there be one is the imperative, categorical imperative of life and the cosmos. Let there be one. Even old Yahweh back in the Bible says, Isaiah says, the Lord is one. See? So, but as soon as you say the Lord is Christian one, well then you got a moralism, because now the Lord of Islam is bad. You see, now you got good and bad, you see. But anyway, so in America, the collective mind of America, we've been divided into two contradictory halves, you see. That's what the catch-22 is. Anytime you have moralism in form. Now, moralism is, what happens is this is there's nothing, I'm not saying there should be no morality. What I'm saying is that when morality is applied to history, you get a catch-22. And the catch-22 is that you're in a lose-lose situation. Abortion is a good example of that. That's the lose-lose catch-22. Whatever one side does, the other side rises up. Everything you do creates an opposite and equal reaction. Energy is not lost, you see. And this is in our mind. Whenever our mind is divided into a catch-22, which is you've got two equal but contradictory choices, you can't choose. You go wow, 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 panic attack. Bring in a savior to choose. You choose, I can't choose. Like with my martini glasses. So when I give away martini glasses, I often mention this, but it's a good example. A couple comes in, pick a martini. Oh, for me, a martini glass. A big shelf of them. Oh, should I choose? The woman will usually pick one, and the man goes, well, you can't choose. And so she may choose four. We'll pick how about this one, honey? Oh, thank you very much, you see. In other words, we run into this catch-22 all the time. I can't choose. Hurt Locker was about that. Remember Hurt Locker? The soldier comes back from Vietnam or Iraq, where he chooses between life and death and deconstructing a bomb. But when he goes to Walmart and has to choose cereal, he can't choose. Oh, they all look the same. When they all look the same, you can't choose. And you get paralyzed. So we're in that situation in this country. It's a catch-22. The left or the right, liberal, conservative. Wow, wow, wow. Each one is equal. One gets stronger, the other one gets as strong. It's like wow, wow, wow. You see. So this creates a terrible frustration, a terrible tension that cannot be sustained. Because it's a feedback loop. When you divide the one into two, each feeds the other as energy, and the energy grows in a contest that cannot be defeated, that cannot end. The system can't hold it. Stick a mic against a microphone, stick a mic against an amplifier, and what happens? It goes, wow, 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 turn it off, you see. It'll explode because the energy is multiplying. Moralism does that. Moralism in time, that is. When you apply a moralism to trying to bring the promised land into history, that's what I'm talking about. Let there be one in history. That's what Trump says. Let there be one was we're going to restore America in history, in time, in my administration. This is the promised land. So this is a false Messiah who promises to restore America in time and bring the kingdom of heaven, which is the one, the kingdom of heaven is the one that has no second. Heaven has no conflict. Heaven has no problem. Heaven has no division. So to bring the kingdom of heaven on earth means you're going to bring a time when there is no division. Everything is one. But historical moralism, the catch-22, operates on the idea that if you eliminate your enemy, you will restore the one. Now, that's what Hitler tried. Restore all the enemy, and Germany will be one, and Europe will be one under Germany. American imperialism is that. We will make America safe for Walmart. You see. So England had to make the world one under the British Empire. The Japanese tried it. This is nationalism, which creates, and the Cold War, which was ideological nationalism. You see, but the Cold War exhausted itself because the two sides, whatever missile one got, the other one got another one. See, boom, 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 until finally the Russians just couldn't afford it and it collapsed. That's the only way to get out of a double bind, is to see the futility in it and stop investing in it. Afghanistan is a catch-22. Whatever we do there, the Taliban does. Whatever strategy we come up with, the Taliban comes up with an opposing strategy. They're very intelligent. All enemies are intelligent. Whatever you do to defeat the enemy, though we go into Afghanistan or Iraq, we divide it into two halves and then try to fix it. We create a catch-22. Whatever one side does, the other one does an equal but opposite action. So balance is always maintained. You see, the teeter-totter is level. If you get into this, you see, whatever you do here brings this up. So you're constantly doing this, you see. The teeter-totter, the original teeter-totter is the fulcrum. The little fulcrum is here, and you got the teeter-totter. That's balance. That's ground zero. But when moralism comes in, where the other side is good, and I'm the good side, and they're the bad side, then I've got to make the other side go down. And they're going to make me go down. So now you get into this, you see. Each one wanting to restore balance. Each one feeling the divine commandment to let there be one. So everybody's trying to obey God. Everybody's trying to restore the one. Even in marriages, you get into a fight in a marriage, what's that about? Restoring the one. But each one wants to be the one. So the man restores the one by being in control. And the woman comes up with an opposite strategy that defeats the man's control. So it's wow, 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 until finally they get divorced. Or one shoots the other. Either way. You see. So this catch-22, there's no way out of it. Once you start one, once you fall into one, once you create one, there's no way out because it's all in the mind. It's the division in the one mind. The one mind is divided against itself. It's called a civil war in history. Or it's called a neurosis in psychology, or schizophrenia, where you have two different voices competing for control, you see. There's no way out. The mind can't get out of it because the mind is fighting itself. So, what to do, you see? I know in my own life, I have been working with, just to add a little thing here. I didn't, doggone it, I keep forgetting to bring my clock, so I have no idea how long I'm talking. So, is Carl Jung's shadow, the archetype of the shadow. So when you create a catch-22, a double bind, you're creating the shadow. And the other half, the other guy, your enemy, is your shadow. He is everything that you reject in yourself. So you project what you reject on the screen of the enemy and go to war with the enemy. This was so obvious in what Trump did, particularly with Hillary and Obama. He projected his shadow on them. Everything he condemned Obama and Hillary for doing, he's now doing. He was just projecting his own shadow on them. All that he denied in himself, he projected on his enemy. But anyway, so just to conclude this, in my own personal life, when I encounter a catch-22, what it feels like is like a friend of mine the other day. He was getting out of his car, and he accidentally dropped the keys on the floor. No problem. But then he accidentally hit the lock button with his elbow when he got out. He's locked out. Catch-22. Catch-22. Locked out. So when you see that, if you are Sherlock Holmes, if you have the scent of Sherlock and you want to find the catch-22s in your life, if you want to find the shadow in your life, you have to want to see them. And if you, not to judge them, not to remove them, you see. Because if you don't, like if you're not on the trail of the catch-22, when you get caught in a double bind, in a lose-lose situation, you blame yourself or you blame the other person. You blame the other person or you blame yourself. I'm so stupid. I'm so, guilt. Guilt, you see. But if you're on the scent of it, you want to see it. You want to catch the catch-22 out in the open. You want to see it exposed. You want to see it with its hand in the cookie jar when you flip the light on. You see, you want to catch that. You want to catch it. You want to see it. And when you see it, you laugh, you see. So that's been my path, laughter. When I catch myself in a lose-lose situation that I have created with my wife or in my everyday life, when I see that, I laugh. And that dissolves it. The catch-22 can't stand laughter. It can't stand a laughter because laughter comes from awareness. Awareness sees the catch-22 caught in the cookie jar. Awareness sees the opposites. Awareness sees the play of opposites. Awareness sees that I created both sides. I created me and the enemy, you see. This is what Jesus was talking about. Love your enemy. Love your shadow. Love yourself. It's all the same love. But love is awareness. So when I see that I've created my Mariati, when Sherlock sees that he's created the Mariati, you see, when I see that I have created my arch enemy, which is me, I laugh. Because the awareness of seeing it is whole. The awareness of seeing the duality. Awareness is whole. Seeing is whole. The awareness of seeing the whole is free from the catch-22. The awareness is free. The awareness is joyous liberation. The awareness is laughter. When you see yourself caught in your own vice, in your own straitjacket, created by you, you see it without judgment, without blame. You just see it, naked, exposed. The whole game is over. And you laugh because the game is over. That's what the game over means. When the game is over, you laugh. See, in Sherlock, he's always saying, the game is on. But the game is over when you laugh and see that you created the game. So Catch-22 is a game we create that we think is serious, that we got to get rid of this evil, you see. But it's really a game we create, and so we can see that we created the game and laugh. It was a great game. It was a great joke. So let's go on. We can move on now. Until America sees the game, it can't move on. Until America sees the game of the Catch-22 that it's caught itself in, that keeps recreating itself in new forms and new presidents. See, Trump has really brought this to a pimple's head, you see. Trump has really brought this right up to a nightmare. Trump has really brought this up to an obvious play on the screen of the collective mind. We can see it in an outline. We can see the whole game. And it's going to take that seeing in order for us to wake up and move on. And the seeing and the end of the game will create a new America. We won't play the old game anymore. We won't play the old game of of blue versus red. The split values, the splitting values into two. You see. The split value just keeps morphing into everything that comes up, gets split into two opposite values. There's an event, there's a black value, a white value. Everything gets divided into two values, and then they go at each other. Each getting stronger. You see, it's a game. We have to see the game. And the only way to see the game is when we get sick and tired of it, when we get exhausted by it, when we get just wiped out by it, when we get sick of it. We won't invest in it. We won't play it anymore. We take our marbles and go home. We take the soccer ball and go home. I'm not going to play anymore. I'm just tired of it. So this is pressing us to the point of exhaustion. And that's good. Because only when we're tired of it, tired of investing in it, hoping that it'll come out and have a different outcome. We invest in stuff because we think it'll have a different outcome. So we keep doing the same thing twice, over and over and over again, in different forms, hoping for a different outcome. But it's the same outcome. It's Groundhog Day. We have to see that through and through. And when a politician on the right or the left comes up with that vision, comes up with that seeing, with that whole seeing, you see, and creates a new vision in which America no longer plays the game of red and blue. People thought Obama had it, but it got caught back in the game, you see. Those who support Trump thought he had it, but it's caught back in the game. It's all sucked back into it's like the game, the Catch-22, has a gravity. It sucks everything into it. So everything that happens gets divided into the Catch-22. Screwed again. Nobody can do anything, you see. And this is a process in evolution. It's a process in America's evolution. This is a transitional stage. This is a stage you have to go through in order to be reborn. This is a stage you have to go through in order to be liberated from the Catch-22 that you created. You can't wake up unless you see you're asleep. You can't wake up unless you see you're in a nightmare. And seeing you're in a nightmare is not blaming the other side. But there is, you see, a higher moralism than the morality that creates the Catch-22. There is an absolute awakening of the moral conscience, awakening of the moral heart that sees right and wrong. And this transcends the false moralism of the Catch-22. This is why we're caught in this, because media has played into this by putting up two talking heads of two different views and puts them together as they're equal. So you get the left and the right talking head. Or whatever event happens, you got two opposing views. They are not equal. The opposing views are not always equal, but they're presented as being equal, so you can't choose. Oh, wow, you see. But that's the false morality. Morality, the absolute morality, the morality of the heart that knows right from wrong, does not see the world as being violence, equal violence on both sides. That's the false view. Well, Trump says, well, they're both doing it. Violence on both sides. They're both guilty. Well, you can't get out of that. That's a teeter-totter. They're both guilty. You can't move. You can't move, you see. So we need to awaken a moral conscience, a moral absolute, and this is the feeling. This is absolutely wrong. Not relatively wrong, absolutely wrong. We just cannot afford this anymore. Absolutely wrong. So that has to awaken, and that can only awaken when we see the falseness and the futility of the relative moralism of both sides are doing it. Anyway, thanks for dropping in, and I'll see you in the morning.